Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm really honored and thrilled to have with me this evening Dr. Sahuda Smith. She's a principal lecturer and head of the Humanities Department at H. Community. And of course, Claudius Maynard. He's an English major at A level, and he's the president of Beta Omicron Sigma Honor Society at H. Community College. And Dr. Cassandra O'Neill, principal lecturer in mathematics and science in the mathematics and science department at H. Community. Welcome to the Spotlight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Y'all doing big things. Yes,
We're trying.
y'all doing big things. We got a zillion medals and trophies and all kind of stuff on the table. Y'all well decorated. and it's great. And a lot of people don't know about the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. So perhaps Dr. Smith, you could give us a little background, a little history. What is Phi Theta Kappa and Beta Omicron Sigma?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for having us. We're really pleased and honored to be here this evening. Phi Theta Kappa International Honor Society is not a fraternity, it's not a sorority, it's an academic honor society for students with a grade point average. At our particular institution, the grade point average is 3.5 or above for entrance. It has 4 hallmarks of the society: scholarship, of course, leadership, fellowship, and service. We engage in service projects and research projects, and the students compete at an international level. Phi Theta Kappa has over 300,000 members internationally, designated into 1,300 chapters. So we compete against all of these members for some of the wonderful awards that you see here. Obviously, we did quite well this year, and I'm going to let my colleagues talk to you a little more about the awards and our achievements.
Okay. Well, before we get to the awards and achievements, I just want to know the roles, the roles that you play, the role that you play, Claudius, and the role that you play, Dr. O'Neill, in this whole honor society.
Well, each chapter at each given campus at a college has advisors. I serve as an advisor, and we have the members. And our chapter was formed in 2006. I was one of the first advisors in the chapter, so I've had the opportunity to see the chapter grow and develop.
Okay, and Claudius? Well,
Good night. As you know, I'm the president of the Beta Omicron Sigma chapter.
and a student.
And a student.
Yes.
But in terms of the chapter specifically, I deal mostly with the general leadership of the other members and the other officers. And I act as the chief liaison officer between the advisors and the rest of the chapter. And as a student, I major in English, so there's that other element to my life.
Okay. And how did you get to become the president? How did
Well,
that
actually,
happen?
it was funny. I was actually chosen and to be the president of the Beta Omicron Sigma chapter, and I remember finding out when Mr. Georges actually registered me already to be the thing. So I didn't find it before, but it was still an honor and a prestigious title that you hold in the society.
And of course, you have what's your grade point average?
Well, I currently hold a 4.0 GPA at the H. Community College.
So you have a perfect grade point average.
Yes.
That's what that means in
Yes.
English, right?
Yes.
Wow. So you get A's just like as if, like you write in the alphabet.
Well, it's not like you're writing the alphabet because English is a very subjective subject.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they come frequently, the A's.
So are you considered a nerd?
Yes, I am a nerd and a proud nerd at that. I look at it as being an honor. It's a title that I hold. I don't denounce it in any way. I think it's more just about knowing that you are dedicated to a certain standard of work and that you want to achieve better in life. And to me, that's what being a nerd is about wanting to be better than you were yesterday.
So you think a nerd is cool?
Yes, a nerd is being cool. I've been a nerd all my life. Why would I not think it's cool?
And a nerd means that you succeed in your endeavors.
Yes. Well, not necessarily just succeeding, but being better than
Outstanding,
yourself.
outstanding.
Yes, but not being better than everyone else, but being better than yourself.
You're competing with yourself,
Yourself
you're
to
trying
be
to be
better, yeah.
better in everything that you do.
Yes, being academically, interpersonally, just career-wise, just being better than you were yesterday. That to me is being a nerd.
Okay. Dr. O'Neill, what's your role?
Well, my role within the chapter, in terms of the awards that you're seeing here, we have what is called an Honors in Action project, and we have. So my particular role, we have other advisors, but my role is basically, Phi Theta Kappa comes out every year with a theme, which lasts for 2 years, and within that theme, there are like 10 sub themes where the students have to carry out a research project, and they have to submit these projects and compete with the others. And I guess since I've come back and have done some research and have been published, I was approached by Dr. Smith to take up the mantle on that, and in terms of coming up with and helping the students to design a project that they can carry out within 3 or 4 months, and that they can actually have results that they can write back. Now, the theme that we have focused on is science-based, which for me is a challenge because most of the students in the chapter are like Claudius, humanities or computer science. And for most of them, they don't like science. So basically, when I come in, Dr. Smith would go and talk to them in terms of what is honors in action, telling them what are the expectations, and then she turn them over to me, where I start talking to them about the scientific method and how we're going to go about in terms of designing the project, answering the questions, and then the write-up. They would tell me what information they got, and then Mr. Richard Georges, who's another advisor, he would kind of oversee and ensure that they are writing the project in terms of what is expected for the rubric from Phi Theta Kappa, which would be the national headquarters. We also have 2 other advisors, Mrs. Deborah Hodge, three, and Miss Stephanie Russ Penn, Mr. Patrick Smith, and Miss Alicia Ham. And basically, within those other advisors, they have their own other rules in terms of whether it's organizing the students, fundraisings and stuff. So everybody within the chapter, from an advisor standpoint, it's not like anybody lording over anybody. Everybody has
Specific
a
role and
specific
function.
task, and I think we function very well in that regard.
Okay. So the project that you asked to help the students with is a project that you're going to do what with?
Well, the project, the last year was the culture of competition. And the year before we did one on mangroves. You couldn't use the same topic. So basically we did one this year on salt ponds in terms of the competition between the salt ponds and humans. In terms of, because especially on Tortola, we have lost most of the salt ponds that we have. And it's one of the contributing factors to beach erosion, the loss of marine habitats. And so basically we wanted the students, I already knew most of the answers, but they had to go out, collect the data, bring it back. Well, teach, what did you think? I'm like, you still haven't done what I asked for. You need to go back. So it's like me, yes, I know some of the answers, but at the same time, it's a guided process where they need to learn more about their environment.
You have to get the students to actually do the work.
Yes, it's their project.
Okay. So that's something that you do to take with you to the international convention.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And this year the international convention was held when?
In Florida.
In Orlando.
In Orlando.
Florida.
And what day?
24th
April
to the
24th to the
27th.
26th. Yeah, 27th.
Okay.
We also have another project that we engage in, because in order for you to actually be considered a top chapter, you have to do 2 types of projects: the Honors in Action project that Dr. Titley O'Neill spoke about, and you also have to do a college project. And you're very familiar with our college project. The difference between the two is the Honors in Action project is a research project. Once you do your research, then you put the research into action. The college project now is something that the students do to help fulfill the mission of the college. It's to increase relationships between the college's administration, the college's board, and the Phi Theta Kappa chapter. and our college project was the Junior Leadership Academy.
Right.
And I know that the Junior Leadership Academy is very near and dear to your heart.
Is my personal pet project, right?
Indeed, indeed. And the Junior Leadership Academy is also very near and dear to my heart, because it's our opportunity to give back to the secondary students, to teach the secondary students the leadership skills that they're going to need, skills and strategies that they're going to need in the world, servant leadership, ethics.
I'm wondering if you could give sort of like a synopsis of the Junior Leadership Project, and regarding what you learned. Yeah, just an overview of what you learned. What are the various categories of things that you learned, and how that impact the lives of the young people that are involved in it. I get that have exposed to that project.
Well, all three of us worked on the project. Dr. Titley O'Neill, myself, Mrs. Deborah Hodge, Mr. Richard Georges, we were the facilitators. And Claudius and his colleagues were the mentors to the secondary students. We would introduce a topic like articulating a vision. And we would explain the importance of having a vision, being able to see yourself, your community 10, 15, 20 years in the future. After we introduced the topic, talked about what it was to have a vision, we then gave the students an exercise. I have a dream that these beautiful Virgin Islands will be. And we asked them to think about the type of society that they wanted to have in the next 10 to 15 years when they became adults. The kids were broken into groups, facilitated then by their mentors who are HLSEC Beta Omicron Sigma members. They were in the breakout groups for how long? About 20, 30 minutes?
About 30 minutes.
And afterward, each young person that wanted to do so stood up in front of the whole group and read their vision statements. And we talked about those and why those things were important. I'm going to turn it over to Claudius, and I'm going to ask Claudius as a young person to explain the value of what he did and what he thought that the young people learned.
That's
from
a
him.
good idea. Yes.
I think from a mentor standpoint, more than anything, it was great to actually be able to develop a relationship with people who are younger than you, because I'm only 19 years old, and I always said that I don't know anyone who, graduated before me. And I think being able to develop that type of relationship, even when we're on social media now, they still, mention me, or they still hail out to me or whatnot. Like, being able to develop that relationship, and I think the children learned to be leaders. And I think from the experience, they actually felt better about themselves. They grew self-esteem, self-confidence from the Junior Leadership Academy. I remember at the very ending, one guy stood up and he gave like this very passionate speech about his experience in, the Junior Leadership Academy. And just to see like the excitement, just to see the passion that they had for 4 weekends, basically, it was actually an incredible experience just to see people so involved in the community and actually wanted to be better.
Now, I think what's interesting and what needs to be noted is that these youngsters that participated, these high school students that participated in the program, were not 3.5s or the brightest students in the secondary school or in the college. They were just average students that were randomly picked from all the high schools, right?
That's very true.
And talk about the experience that you had after the 4 weeks, after the 4 Saturdays of this instruction and this relationship. What did you get from these students that everyone considers to be either average or below average?
Well, one thing I know for sure, people tend to say leaders are born and they're not made. While that, you can have whatever opinion you like to have about that. But the one thing I know is that everyone can benefit from leadership strategies. And that's what we try to teach the young people. How to make better decisions, how to set goals. So any young person can benefit from that. This year was also the first year we took the program to Virgin Gorda, and I think that Dr. O'Neill can speak about her experience with VG.
Well, personally, I think coming from a sister island, the feeling or the sentiment, I will have to say this, and I make no apology, is that we are the afterthoughts. Whatever it is happening in Tortola. The other sister islands are not afforded. Yeah, like stepchildren, they're not afforded the same opportunities. And I know this year we had a lot of talk in terms between the advisors, and they were adamant we need to take it to Virgin Gorda. We wanted to take it to Anegada as well, but because of the logistics in terms of getting over there on a Saturday and the financial cost, it didn't work out. What I will say is, in terms of the young people that we mentored to, they still see me. Hey Doc, how you doing? I remembered so and so, and don't forget I graduating this year, so I'm looking for you at graduation, and or I'll be coming to see you soon at HLSCC. It's like people that I used to see in the community never talked a whole lot, but now that they see you, it's like I have developed a friendship with these individuals.
They have come out of themselves.
Yes, they've come out of a shell, and they spoke up. They said in their minds, from a Virgin Guardian standpoint, what their determination or what their interpretation of a leader is. And when we were discussing it as advisors, we realized that those on Virgin Gorda have a different mindset than the ones on Tortola. And that for us, for me, I guess, in terms of I do research, that for me was very interesting. Yeah.
You go ahead, Claudia.
As a young person, especially one of those that are considered advanced, it got me thinking that, that these children that are seen as not bright are just as capable and just as likely to succeed as those that are considered top students. Because some of the children that came to the Junior Leadership Academy, I know aren't the top of their class, but they behaved just as well. They thought just as well.
Once they were exposed.
Yeah, once they were exposed and got comfortable with the different mentors. Like I remember, all of the students actually wanted to be in my group because I guess I was fun. But I think it was more so they felt comfortable in the experience, in the environment, and it got you to realize that they are just as well off or just as capable as doing excellent as the top students in the high school. So I think that's one of the experiences I got.
And they just need to have some of the similar experiences that you had and have the similar opportunities.
Yeah, I think they just need someone to care for them in terms of being friendly and being open with them. And I think that was one of the things that I got out of it in terms of teaching, is that you have to be open with your students. You have to be able to relate to them on their level, so that when it comes to them expressing themselves to you, they are able to do so in a comfortable environment. And I think that's why they were so successful in the Junior Leadership Academy, because they felt comfortable.
We're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the awards. We're going to talk about the successes you had in the international convention. So I'm looking forward to that. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more Spotlight and the Beta, Omicron, Sigma Honor Society.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, the BVI Tourist Board, and CCT Global Communications.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm having a fantastic discussion with the members of the Beta, Omicron, Sigma Honor Society of the HIV South Community College. They're doing great things. You just came back from the international convention, and that was held in Orlando, Florida, right? Senior moment. And you won a bunch of stuff. So let's talk. We have them all on display here on the table. Let's talk about the awards. Now, I want to break the news because I just think that is such a tremendous accomplishment, and I broke it already earlier in the introduction of the show, that y'all were chosen number 13. Y'all ranked, the chapter in the BVI, in the HIV South Community College, ranked 13 out of 1,300 chapters across the world. Now, that's a big deal.
Top 1%.
The top 1%. The top 1%. Yeah, that's putting it in the right perspective, And I mean, it's just simply amazing. And talk to us about that. How that made y'all feel, and what that did for the Virgin Islands in the eyes of the international community that were at that conference.
Well, I don't really have much to say because I spent the whole conference crying. Every time we won an award, I was just overwhelmed and boohooing.
Don't be crying on this. On
No,
the
no,
spotlight,
no,
okay,
no,
so straighten
no,
up.
no, no,
I know you. You're ready.
no,
I see you're ready to bust. You're ready to bust the break down.
No, I'm not going to do that. But again, I'm going to let Claudius, because again, this is a student organization. We're here, we're mentors and we're facilitators. But the experience, although we experience joy, the experience is that of the students. So Claudius, please.
Well, this was my first time actually attending an international convention, and I always say that I remember before we went, months before we went, Dr. Smith will always, and Mr. Georges and the rest of the advisors will always say, this is a huge convention. Like, you guys will not understand it until you reach there. And when you reach there, you understand what they were trying to say. Like, when you go into a room and it's filled with 4,000 people just standing up and cheering because they made it to some place that they can be proud of. They can be proud of their accomplishments. And when I say 4,000 people, that's not even the amount of people that are in the chapters. That was just who were able to come. So when you go there, and sometimes we're actually the largest chapter. I think we carry 12 members. Some chapters only carried 4. So it was just an incredible experience just to see the vastness of the Phi Theta Kappa organization. And in terms of winning the awards, it was one of those things, like, after you won them, it was the proudest moment ever. Like, that's something that people can't take away. Like, now we're in books, we're in history in the Phi Theta Kappa organization. We won 5 regional awards, this amount of international awards. And when you go there, you're just a BVI. You're trying to fit in. When we left there, we were the BVI. We standing out. Like, that was just something that hiding was not an option for us after we won those awards.
And what was the response? You were there among people from various nationalities, various ethnic groups, and I heard you say something about being the group with the black group. And that was interesting to me.
Well, I told a story that after the final dinner, which was the second to last activity, a guy came up to us and we were sitting and having dinner, but afterwards a guy came up to us and he was like, "Are you the Beta Omicron Sigma chapter?" And at first we was like, "Yeah, why?" And he looked at us and he was like, "I need to have a picture of you guys." So we asked him why. He was like, "Because I'm from Ohio and I'm like the only black guy in an all-white chapter. And it was so incredible to see an all-black chapter go up there and receive so many awards." Like I was speaking earlier at the international, the final Hallmark Award dinner, it was kind of like we got up, went on stage, took a picture, came back down 5 minutes later, got up, took a picture, came back down 5 minutes later, got up, took a picture. It was kind of like this continuous stream of us just going up and accepting awards. And I think people actually acknowledge that as like, wow, you guys are this very young chapter, relatively young chapter, and you guys are accomplishing so much. It was really an incredible feeling, actually.
And BVI was really mapped out.
Oh, it was represented because we made sure that, as small as we were, and the Florida region too, I must, really give them props. As any time our name was called, everyone stood up, everyone clapped, and that was really a great.
And they had the support.
They had the support from the Florida region, totally.
Okay, that must have been quite an experience. Now, what are the awards? Because we following at 10 o'clock. Because I'm so excited about what's going on, I'm forgetting about the awards.
Well, the awards on the table are a combination of awards that we won as part of the Florida region. Because Phi Theta Kappa divides its organization into regions. So you have the Texas region, Mississippi region,
Louisiana,
New York,
Illinois.
New Jersey region, Middle States, and we're part of the Florida region based on geographical proximity. So we took home over 400. There are over 400 chapters in Florida, and we were the number 2 chapter in Florida. So it's just for years, and our chapter is young, 2006, and I think when we first started attending conventions, we were just really happy to be there. And we would hear other chapters' names called, and we'd look at them on the stage and say, "Man, how do you
get to that point?
How do we do
How
this?"
do you get to that point? Yeah.
And during the break, I said that a huge part of leadership is understanding what you are not doing right, accessing resources, and attempting, as Claudius is always saying, to be better than you were the last time. And we were brainstorming, trying to figure out, how do we get distinguished chapter? How do we get college project, distinguished theme, honors in action award? How do we do this? And I said to Mr. Georges, who will soon be Dr. Georges, I said to him, we need a better project. It's just not good enough. He said, so what do we do? I said, I don't know, but let's ask Sandy if she'd be interested in helping us. So Sandy, you might want to talk about some of these awards.
Well, in terms of the awards, we have the medals in front. Two of them there. One is for the Paragon Advisor, which I got, which is, I guess you would call it the rookie of advisors, who has made a significant contribution to the organization within less than 5 years. We have Distinguished Chapter Advisor, which was won by Mr. Georges, and we also had Distinguished Chapter Member, which was won by Ms. Shamara Lanford. And so these are write-ups that were nominated by the students, and based on what they write, they have their own committee and they decide who gets what. And then, like we explained before, we have the Honors in Action project and the College project. Now, based on the write-ups again from the students in terms of what they did, they were voted upon. And Claudius was explaining, when I told him first about science, he was like, science? I don't know anything about science. But even in terms of leadership and what we taught, he's very good in English. So he was in charge of getting them to write up. Those who were in business, they did the numbers, and those who were in science, they did more in terms of figuring out the ecological importances and how it is a detriment to the environment and also us as humans. So even though we teaching leadership as well, the students are actually, how should we say, practicing it in terms of the project itself.
And what they put in there, what their skills are.
Yeah. So we got like Distinguished Chapter Award, Distinguished Advisor. And so we got, Mr. Georges got Distinguished Advisor within the region as well as internationally. So did Ms. Shamara Lanford, she got it as Distinguished Chapter Member regionally as well as internationally. And then so you compete within the chapters within your region, but then you compete, but that's 400 chapters, but then you compete with over these 1,300. So to get it on an international stage is putting it mildly. And when we came back, the college actually had like a little ceremony for us. And Dr. Rod Risley came and, he told the persons that were there via Skype, the organization is almost 100 years. He said, but the growth in which this particular chapter has exemplified within 8 years is unprecedented, were his exact words. And he said he expects and continues to, he knows that he's gonna see brighter and bigger things from the BVI, because he says he knows what we're capable of doing.
Now, you won an award.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I know you don't want to brag. You want everybody to brag. That's why you keep switching the discussion. I'm going to put you on the spot. You keep switching the discussion. I'm checking you. Yeah. So what did you win?
I won an award called the Marshall Award. The Marshall Award is an award that you must compete for as an advisor. I'm the second person to ever win a Marshall Award, and it's for a research project. My research project is entitled Leadership Dialogues, Conversations Between Parents and Their Children. It was my vision when I wrote the project to take what we have as a Junior Leadership Academy, but this time have parents come and have the discussions about ethics, servant leadership, vision with parents and their children, so that parents can know what their children are thinking and children can somehow understand the expectations of the parents. When I used to listen to the responses from the young people during the Junior Leadership Academy, I would say, my goodness, I wonder what the parents would think if they knew what their children actually think a leader should be like. I wonder what the parents would think if they were flies on the wall. So I said, well, Sauda, why don't you try to get some funding so you can at least give the people lunch when they give up their Saturday?
So we gonna definitely have that. We gonna definitely have that.
I won. So
We're gonna
it's
have
a
that
done.
pro-
It's a done
we
deal.
gonna definitely have
And
that program.
Dr. O'Neill, we're going to launch the program in Virgin Gorda.
Yeah.
So
Thank
that
you.
you don't feel like
She left like a step.
you're left out.
Yeah.
Now Totola will have to catch up, but we're going to launch the leadership dialogues on Virgin Gorda in September.
I want to ask Claudius. You got a last. You going to college when?
This fall,
This fall.
Yes.
And where you going?
I'm going to the University of Miami.
Okay. And you gotten scholarships from
Actually, gotten scholarship offers from a number of different colleges. Texas A&M University Commerce, also Delta State University, and also like University of Miami also offers a Theta Kappa scholarship as well.
Okay. And how do those scholarships relate to your membership in this the honor society?
For many of them, they're actually automatic, believe it or not, because to enter into the organization of this stature, this prestige, you have to have a certain GPA. So when you go to the marketplace, which is another big exciting moment when you get there, the other colleges already know that you're, as Dr. Smith says, you're creme de la creme. You're the top of the top of your school. So it really isn't that difficult to get a scholarship, but you have to also be in a chapter, you have to prove your worth within your college. And to be able to go to the convention, you have to be an active member. So they know that you are definitely a worthy student for these scholarships.
So they pulling at your jacket
Yeah.
from all sides. You know,
Yeah.
come to my school. Come to my.
You know,
I
I
got this money. I got that money. So they throwing stuff at you left and right, and you're all confused.
Yeah, look, it was hectic. Like I think there were nearly 100 colleges. I don't even know count. It was this big board, and the colleges were just listed, and they literally were like, okay, here's a $20,000 scholarship. All you have to do is just sign up. And here's a $15,000 scholarship. All you have to do is just sign up. And the fact that you are there with a badge saying that you are part of the Theta Kappa organization, they feel comfortable offering you these $20,000, $15,000 scholarships just because you're there.
You're a member.
You're a member
and
of-
they know what the member means and what the worth and the value is.
And as Dr. Smith said earlier today, specifically for Texas A&M University, when our students go away previously, they go away and they perform well in the schools. So they know that students from H. Laverty Stout University, H. Laverty Stout College,
Yes. He's predicting the future. He's predicting the
that students from the
future.
H. Laverty Stout Community College are well-rounded, very talented students academically and otherwise.
So that's great. Well, we found out at 3:00, and I don't know what I missed. What I forget to bring out. Everything. I mean, I know it's all about Claudius and the members. How many members you have at H. Laverty South Community College?
Our chapter actually has over 100 members, but I would say maybe about 20, 25 of those students are actually active members. If I may use this opportunity to market
Yes.
Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, you get so much more than you can possibly imagine from the experience, the opportunity to augment any scholarships that you might have received, the opportunity to gain leadership skills, mentor secondary students. Help me out here, folks. What else can they gain?
Well, I think the international experience, which Claudius has talked about, allowing our students to know that, yes, you can compete on the international stage and be successful at it as well, once you have the correct leadership behind and pushing you to, as Claudius said, to be a nerd. To be honest with you, that was the first place I've actually seen it's okay to be a nerd. It's like, I'm proud to be a nerd.
Wait, wasn't it the theme or the
Nerd Nation.
Right, the
Nerd
conference,
Nation.
conference is branded Nerd Nation.
A nation of nerds.
Nation of nerds.
The
And
top of the heap.
Yes, next year Nerd Nation is in Austin, Texas.
Okay. Yeah, and what's exciting is that at HLSCC, the opportunity is there.
Indeed.
The opportunity is there, and if you have 100 students who are members, that means you got 100 students in HLSCC who have a GPA of 3.5 or more. And I mean, it shows that the college is really making significant strides in the development of the young people of the country, and we having tremendous success at Age Liberty South Community College. So those persons who think, and I was saying it, I was thinking to myself today that the students at HLSCC who may complain about HLSCC is not a good college, I think all they need to do is just apply themselves a little more. Because as you can see, and as Claudius is a testament to, and of all the awards and
These are even all that we want customary.
you know, that certainly the college is going places.
May I ask Claudius a question on the air?
Yes.
How many of your credits from HLSCC
Yes,
transferred
that's a good,
to University of Miami?
Thank you very much.
Well, as I was speaking with my advisor on Monday, right at this moment, when I sent out my transcript, there were 46 credits. They accepted 45 of them, and when I send in I expect when I send in my final transcript that they'll accept 62 or 63 of my credits. And I remember speaking to my advisor, and she basically told me, you're clearly overqualified to transfer in as a student, because some of them, the credits they won't even take because there's too much that they can accept, and there's only a certain limit that they can accept as a transfer student. So to say that your credits won't transfer and that's the reason why you won't go to HLSCC is totally not an acceptable excuse not to go, because as far as I'm concerned, all of my credits have been transferred.
With the exception of probably COM.
Which is
College
Which is
development.
Yeah, which is probably here's the only place that teaches that, right?
Yeah.
No, well, every college basically has their own, but it's not geared towards a program. It's basically teaching them study skills and stuff like that. So,
and then to put that into perspective too, University of Miami is one of the top universities in Florida.
Indeed.
So to think that the top university accepts all your credits, then I would think that would be a trend internationally.
Right, certainly, and that's an excellent point. Yeah, wow. I'm really glad y'all came by. I see the clock is running, but
thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Yeah, it is my pleasure. It's a real honor for me to be sitting here with you, talking about all the good things, the great accomplishments that's being made, that you're making, and that the college is making, and how in our small country we are able to develop our institutions to the point where we are being recognized on such a high level internationally. I mean, to be 13 out of 1,300, and then first with the top 10%, the top 1%, to be the top 1%,
yeah,
to be number 2 out of 400 in the region, in the Florida region. That's no small accomplishment, and I think for us as parents and Virgin Islanders, we really need to take a look at the accomplishments that we have, stop knocking each other down, and build each other up. Because if our bright students are going to our college, it means that our college become at a higher standard. That's why they want Claudius, because they know he's going to perform well, and their statistics going to show Claudius as a top performer and going to raise the standard of their college.
Exactly.
That's what that's really about. Getting the best and the brightest to go up to your school to make your school part of the bright and the best. Mm-hmm. Great to have you.
And I also think that one of the things that got lost in the fray was actually the scholarship to go to the Honors Institute. With one of the regional awards where we won, a current Beta Omicron Sigma student actually won a scholarship. I don't know when it will be, but they actually won a scholarship to go to the Honors Institute. We're supposed to win 2, but a chapter could only win 1, so that would be one.
Okay, and the Honors Institute is?
June 13th to the 21st.
Okay, what that means, when you say the Honor Institute?
It's a week-long seminars, discussions, leadership strategies. Myself, Deborah Hodge, are 2 of the facilitators, faculty scholars this year. It's in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, great. Again, thank you for coming, and continued success, and really, I'm proud to be a part of you.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
And thank you for your support. Thank you very much.
All the time. Yes, indeed. I want to thank you for watching, and I want to tell you that Spotlight is seen Tuesdays at 8 p.m. here on JTV Channel 55 and rebroadcast on Sundays at 2:30. You can also view Spotlights on JTV jtvlive.net. You can view spotlights on jtvlive.net. You click on the tab and you can see all the spotlights there, the ones that you missed. If you missed part of one, you can catch up with what you missed. Of course, thank you for your words of encouragement, your criticism, your suggestions. Continue to email me at jtvspotlight@yahoo.com. I'm Edjuenka, reminding you that when the spotlight is on, you see the facts. Peace and blessings.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited and H. Lavity Stout Community College.